Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue and I am back for another 911 review, you guys. I'm glad y'all are all here to watch. I know this is a struggle review, as I like to call them. But I really love the show and I'm glad that everybody that does watch these reviews keeps coming back. So I hope y'all enjoy the review. Let's get into it. So the episode started off where we see a man getting a TV and he gets the TV put into the back of his nice ass custom painted G-Wagon, gets in a car, realizes that he can't see behind him because of the TV. We've all been here before, so he kind of looks behind him, hoping for the best, waits for a second, and just kind of eases back. Then he hears himself hit something, jumps out the car, and it's this lady in the back of his fucking car laid out. Ow, ow, my neck, my neck, and my back. The bitch is faking, okay? Paying attention to the custom paint job and how nice his car is. Meanwhile, faking it like her fucking head hurt. The next thing we see is her depositing a $12,000 check, ditching her neck brace, and then heading to the buffet. She gets to the buffet, she pours herself some ketchup into the little, y'all know them little paper cup things, and then she knocks it on the floor, slips on it, and falls backwards. So then we see her go to her car, and she's ditching her arm brakes, putting it in her trunk. Then she sees this flashy old lady, you know, cute as can be in her little leopard, you know, got her little bun popping. I'm like, all right, grandma. So she walk into the car, get in her car, she check her review, and then she starts to back up, and we see the lady standing behind her car, but we see the bitch get hit by a van. Boom! I'm like, that looked like a dead hit. That didn't look like a I'm still alive hit. But she was behind the lady's car, and the lady rolled over her legs, so they had to call the paramedics. When the paramedics get there, they look at it and realize that she looks familiar. And Athena is on the scene and realizes that she's somebody she's seen before. The bitch is a porch pirate. So she didn't move from stealing packages off your porch. Okay? So jumping behind people's cars. Apparently, this bitch is out here committing fraud. Athena says that it makes her want to check the cameras from the parking lot to see what actually went down here. And the lady says, all you're going to see is a lady who has mobility issues. I'm like, really, bitch, mobility issues? The way you like to jump and lay down in the back of somebody's fucking car? Mobility issues, man. So she says, you know, maybe it's because I didn't receive proper care on the scene. So she was basically saying she was going to try to sue the 911 people. Like, really? You going to try to sue Henrietta? She's trying to help you, bitch. How you gonna sue her? And she was like, y'all just some city workers, so you probably don't make a lot of money, but there's probably a lot of money in the city, baby. Like, she gonna sue the city. Don't y'all think they got deep pockets? They close the doors on her, bitch. What an awful woman. I'm like, yeah, she's terrible, okay? Terrible ass lady. Terrible. So y'all, Maddie is at the 911 call center and she is having a terrible day because she is being called a stupid bitch by a 911 caller who is begging for her life to kick her in the ass, okay? You know, bitches who talk to people like that on a regular basis usually end up getting karma hit them in the face some type of way. If not for nothing, you'll probably age bad, you angry bitch. Anyway, Maddie talks to a fellow dispatcher named Gloria who tells her not to bring this job home with her. And she also tells her to go on a ride along so that she could have a better understanding of the job. Gloria is like the call center Celine Dion, all right? So then we see her do all of her calls and she is speeding through these calls, but she hella disrespectful. She reading the fuck out of everybody calling. Like, she just be hanging up on people left and right. We didn't think that was gonna be an issue, but then it turns out to be one. We're gonna get to that later. So Maddie requested Athena for her ride along, and of course Athena already knows who she is because of Bobby and her pillow talk, okay? So while they're walking, you know, Maddie references the fact that she used to be married and she's now back to being Maddie Buckley or whatever. And Athena asks her when they get in the car how bad the marriage was. And she says it was terrible, but I didn't realize how strong I was until I had to leave that marriage. And I'm like, girl, hallelujah, praise him, Jesus. Okay, you had to do what you had to do. So they get called to a protest at a military funeral. And let me tell y'all something. See these people? I hope all of these people get struck down. Okay, in one way or another. I cannot stand these people that show up to military funerals so that they can spout that God is punishing the military because we have homosexuals in the country. So what the fuck are we exactly supposed to do? Are we supposed to try to kill everybody that's gay on earth, and that will supposedly make it so that military people don't die? Is that your logic, you ignorant, stupid, disabled in the mind motherfuckers? Like, I can't deal with people like that, all right? So Athena goes out there, she talks to the man. He like, my sister is trying to bury her son, and these people are out here. This is just fucking ridiculous, but they can't do anything about it as long as they stay on the sidewalk and they don't come past the gate into the property, right? So Athena is telling them to push back, and one of the leaders of the bullshit, this old nasty looking, funky, dirty looking man in a wheelchair, is pushing forward and gonna tell her what you gonna do about it. Then he starts to cough and shit, and so he, passes out onto the floor. They call the paramedics. He didn't want Athena to touch him because she's a black woman. Made a comment about all the black people that's in jail and shit, and I'm like, yeah, right along with all the white people. Aryan Nation, motherfucker. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. I want you people to do y'all research on where Aryan came from. Find out how dumb them motherfuckers is. Anyway, so once everybody gets there, y'all know the only people that's, can actually intubate and do that type of stuff, the paramedic stuff, is Henrietta and Eddie. Those are the only two people that can do that type of stuff. And I also think Chimney can too, but he doesn't want anybody that's not white touching him. And they just standing there like, sir, I'm sorry, but this is California. We can't call you an all-white 911, firefighters group of people. We can't find that. There ain't no such thing as that. They gonna have at least one of something in here. At first, he wanted to try to use Eddie, but then he realized that Eddie is part Mexican because his last name is Diaz. So then he don't want him to touch him either. I'm like, so you would rather your bowels, because that's what happened. His coloscopy bag must have ruptured or something, and so all of his bowels are backing up into his system, and eventually he's going to be shitting out of his mouth, so to speak. He's already doing that, but here he is. And he would rather die and have blood coming out of his mouth than to have somebody that's black, Latino, or Asian help him. Really? I'd have let the motherfucker die. Like, I know that that's why I can't be a first responder. I can't be a fireman. I can't be a paramedic, because I would let your evil ass die. I really would, okay? But Henrietta, she's a better person than me. She said, come on, let's get him. So as soon as he threw up the blood and passed out, they went ahead and got him in the ambulance. So Maddie and Athena, after saying hey to Buck and Bobby, go to have breakfast. When they get to the restaurant, Athena peeps that they got food on all the tables, but they ain't got nobody in the restaurant, and there's a closed sign, and she knows that they should be open right now. So she goes into the store, she makes her way to the back and sees that there's a cook there that's been shot in the chest, bleeding out on the ground. And Maddie comes in and does her best to, kind of sew him up until the ambulance gets there. And the man says, how did y'all get here? 911 hung up on him. Okay, he's a Vietnamese, so he doesn't speak English that well. But we basically can deduce that somebody at the 911 dispatch hung up on this man. If it wasn't for the fact that they was going there for breakfast, he'd have bled out and died because somebody hung up on him at the 911 call center. So y'all know Maddie is definitely feeling some type of fucking way, because that's what she work at, right? We're going to get to that in a second. So Henrietta, Karen, her wife, and Michael, y'all know that's Athena's ex-husband, have a picnic with the kids. And he expresses his feelings about kind of feeling insecure when it comes to Bobby, because Bobby has this, innate, natural paternal thing going on. And that's because he had kids and his kids died. So he has all this love to give and nobody to give it to. But Karen lets him know that at the end of the day, Michael is the father, okay? And anything else that Bobby has to offer his kids is just extra. So, they was like having a little good moment. And then we see Eva, Henrietta's ex, also the biological mom to her son Danny, or Denny, whichever one it is, I don't know, Sometimes I hear them saying Danny, and other times I hear him saying Denny. So we just gonna go for Denny right now, all right? And they see her, she done picked up their little dog, she talking to the kids, and Karen and Hen see it and run up and tell the little boy to go back by Michael, and like, bitch, what are you doing here? And she's like, what you thought that I told him that I'm his real mom, and I just wanted somebody to smack the fuck out of her, okay? She done brought the biological father to the park. Apparently, she lied to Henrietta and Karen all of those years about not knowing who the father was, and now here he is wanting to be in his son's life, but don't nobody fucking know him, all right? And I'm just like, oh, bro, this bitch here. Just when we think we done got rid of her old drug addicted ass, here she come popping up again looking like she fiending for that dope, okay? So Maddie gets back to work, y'all, and she is completely pissed off about this shit that didn't happen at the 911 call center. So she talks to her supervisor, and he's like, you don't know what could have happened, but she was like, fuck all that. Let's look through the records. So she has the call number or whatever. So they look through the records and find the phone conversation, a recorded conversation between the 911 dispatcher and this Vietnamese man that died that was about to die in that restaurant. And it was Gloria. Gloria was the one that picked up the call. And this man has been shot. So of course it's not that easy for you to understand him. She's talking about, you're yelling at me isn't going to help. And he's like, oh my God. But he says, you know, this is ridiculous. He says something like that in Vietnamese. And she says, now you're speaking another language? Seriously? So she just hangs the phone up on him. He very clearly said, shot, bleeding, help. He very clearly said that. But she hung up the phone on him. So now they got to tell their supervisors what happened. So when Maddie got back to work, she sees that they're firing Gloria. Not only did they fire her, but they're investigating her because they found out that there were multiple calls that she hung up on people. Maddie's supervisor was like, girl, I don't know why you came back. You know she gonna be pissed off at you. So she come out the doors, you traitor. I helped you, okay? I helped you. I told you where we hide the good coffee pots, and you betrayed me. And she was like, girl, you was hanging up on people who needed help unjustly. What is wrong with you? And she was like, yes, I hung up on people, terrible people who are screaming and howling and yelling and crying like you're supposed to be able to do something for them. Never once do they ask, how are you doing, Gloria? What's your day like? And you put everything into them, and then they turn around and leave you for your fucking sister. And I'm just like, oh girl, this just got personal. We all know that Gloria just went through a divorce like 8 months ago, and since then she didn't click the fuck out, hanging up on everybody. She is pissed off. The security guards come to get her to drag her out the building, and she tell Maddie that snitches get stitches. This shit ain't over. You better believe this shit ain't over. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm scared. I am shaking in my boots because I don't know what could possibly fucking happen with this old lady. She seems very determined, okay? So Henrietta and her son get home and find Karen just got off the phone with the lawyer. And the lawyer is basically telling them that the lab report came back and Nathaniel Green is Denny's biological father. He has rights, and they basically gonna have to deal with this. He can take them to court. Henrietta says, just let me talk to Athena and she could dig up some stuff on him. Maybe we could use it to discredit him. And Karen says, why did you bring that terrible woman back into our lives? Talking about Eva, because y'all know last season Henrietta cheated on Karen with Eva, and then Eva was on some slick shit trying to get the baby back because Henrietta didn't want to be with her. But y'all know Eva is a heroin addict, so eventually she always fucks up. So Denny comes in after Karen walks out because she's still having a hard time dealing with all of this shit, okay? And then he comes in and he says, Mama sounded mad. Is it because I talked to that lady when we were in the park? And Henrietta is like, no, it's not about that. It's not about you. Me and your mom really, really love you. And he says, well, Mama, can you fix this the way you fix all the people at work? And she says, yeah, baby, I'm going to fix this. And now we see that Henrietta can do what she sometimes does, which is kind of, you know, be headstrong and kind of get tunnel vision. If she decides she's going to do something, then she starts to ignore everything else that tells her that maybe that's not such a good decision. All right, we're going to get back to that. So Maddie has dinner with Buck, and we see that Gloria is harassing her, calling her, texting her over and over and over again. She says, you know, she can deal with it, that hopefully Gloria will just leave her alone because y'all know Buck offered to talk to her and, you know, maybe scare her or flirt with her or whatever he could possibly do to get her to leave his sister the fuck alone. So Henrietta, listening to all of the bad voices in her head, follows her ex and watches her buy some drugs off somebody and run into a sleazy motel. Karen calls her to apologize about the little spat that they had earlier. And, you know, they just kind of discuss how this is hard for both of them, how they're scared they're going to lose their son. And Henrietta is just pissed. Karen asks her to just come home. But instead of coming home, she gets out the car and goes up there to knock on the door. And I'm like, so what you gonna do? What you gonna beat her ass or something like that? So she knocks on the door. She hears some glass break. And she sees that Eva is passed out through the window. So she breaks down the door and sees that she's ODing, foaming at the mouth. She done threw up and shit. And at first she was like, oh, fuck. So she about to call 911, but then she thinks about it and she kind of walks away like she was going to let that bitch die. And I was like, oh, girl, don't do it. The Lord sees everything. Don't do it, hen. Don't do it. So she calls 911, thank God. When they give her the shot and she wakes up, she's like, oh, my God, what is she doing here? And she was like, the paramedics were like, Henrietta called it in. So she's like, oh, you saved me, you saved me. And she's like, yeah, bitch, I save people every day. I called your parole officer. He'll meet you at the hospital. Have a great time in jail, bitch. Fuck out of here acting like I saved you because I love you. No, I saved you because I will eventually have to look myself in a fucking mirror and think about the fact that I possibly helped my baby mama die. And nobody wants to do that, okay? Nobody wants to be a part of that shit unless you're a psycho. So Athena goes to the hospital looking for that robber who robbed that restaurant and shot that man in the chest, okay? Apparently somebody who done got burns all over their face and the burns are at least a day old, and she goes in there and tries to find him, but he done ran off some fucking well because he must have heard that the nurse called the police on his ass because, you know, they was looking for him. And they go in there and find him. He done passed out. He didn't get too damn far. I'm like, good, they caught him. Somebody had threw grease all over his face. I'm like, that's what you get. So Athena calls Maddie to let her know that they caught him. And Maddie says, thank you so much for the ride. You really helped me out more than you know. She says, now that every time I go through something or I get stressed out, I'll think, what would Athena do? And she was like, you are too kind. She was like, all right, Bucket, have a good day. And that's when we see that Gloria calls her on her phone. She hangs up on Gloria, and then Gloria calls the 911 dispatch and gets put through to her. And she's like, yeah, that's right. I know how to do this shit. All right, I was the system before you came in and fucked up my job. So she's going off berating Maddie, telling her how fucked up her generation is, and she sees a cat running in the street, tries to avoid the cat, and crashes her car. So now there's gas everywhere, like you can kind of see it waving, and you know how gas got that little wave to it, and you can kind of see it in the air. And the airbags have been deployed. She's dropped her phone and she doesn't know if Maddie is still on the line. Maddie is very much still on the line. Her boss comes and listens to the call. They try to see where she is and get the paramedics to, well, the firemen to find her because they needed the jaws of light to get her out the car. But the whole time she's in the car, she starts to talk about how, oh, please, I hope that you didn't hang up. You know, I wouldn't blame you if you did because I would have hung up. And then she says, I don't know why I do it. And she was like, no, that's a lie. I know why I did it. I know why I do it. And then she talks about how she got tired of losing people. She got tired of sitting on the phone and listening to people die. And she had this one call from a young girl and she could hear the gunshots. She could hear them getting closer and closer. And she knew that the girl was going to die and there was nothing she could do. So she just hung the phone up. And when she hung the phone up, she felt such a feeling of relief. And it made her feel like she didn't have to feel like that anymore. So from then on, she was just hanging up on people because it made it so that she didn't actually have to deal with it. Y'all, that lady had me crying. I ain't gonna lie. I was all in my feelings watching her tell that story, watching Maddie listen, her not knowing if Maddie was there. Then when the firefighters get up there, she was like, oh, you still there? You didn't hang up. And I was like, bitch, why y'all playing with me like this today? Okay. So she saved the lady and the lady was crying and shit. Then we see Henrietta go to Athena's to get the lowdown on Nathaniel. He's a stand-up guy now. He had a hard time 7 years ago, which is why he ended up in rehab in the first place where he met Eva. But Athena tells her to be positive because you never know what the outcome is really going to be. When they actually sit down and talk to Nathaniel, he says, I just want to follow y'all lead. I just want visitation. I just want to be in my son's life, but I'll do it however y'all see fit. Y'all are his parents. He's in a great place, and I see that. And so it's not going to be a bad thing. Moral of the story is give people a chance, because when you get close to people, the connection that you make with them makes the rest of this shit seem less awful. So my battery is about to go out. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I hope y'all like the review. Share it with your people. Anybody you know watch the show, share it. I'll see y'all.